Salamanca, December 1808, by David D.G. Jones. 4 hours ago I was stood in the main plaza in Salamanca. The weather so reminiscent of my Glasgow childhood, rain dropping from my hat and cold rivulets of water running down my face. I pulled up my colour to keep out the icy drips. Looking around, I stood in the middle of a huge square, alone for once. The Plaza Mayor could compete with any city square in Europe, and I'd seen many on the Grand Tour, accompanying the son of the Duke of Hamilton. Indeed, it was a plaza befitting of this venerated university city. I knew of its history, and the days spent here gave me the opportunity to see a little of its structure and layout. Perhaps that's the military training in me. But it was almost comforting to see the sandstone-coloured buildings, so like the English Cotswolds in their hues. The seat of learning as old as Cambridge, and older than any Scottish university. Unthinkable that war could come here and destroy these places. But I was drifting away from the issues before me. The sun had just set as I walked through the dark, wet, muddy streets, returning from my meeting with General Graham, and I thought of the days ahead. Commanding the British Army, under orders to work with the Spanish armies to defeat and retake Madrid from Napoleon. It was not the risk I imagined. As I pondered the options I have, something was clear. The one thing I don't have is time. The rain on my face bit, and I took this opportunity to stand alone for as long as I could, listening to my soldiers getting drunk, amid the unfamiliar smells of Spanish food cooking coming from every doorway and window. But the men, well, they had the smell of battle in their nostrils. Home seems so far away now, far away for all of us here. I've travelled a good deal, seen many countries, had battles, seen men die. A soldier from the age of 15, and now, 33 years later, stood in the middle of a Spanish city. The heavy Salamanca air was filled with laughter and revelry. Most of the drunkenness would be good-hearted, but there were always those whom the sergeants need to watch for undesirable behaviour. There may be tens of thousands here. There may not be by sight. We certainly live cheek by jowl, and their lives are hard. These men who we would depend upon had been let down by the people who would have them do their bidding, and that includes me. They had all trudged through the cloying mud for weeks, sleeping by the roads, in ditches, behind walls, or in any hovel they could find shelter in. Finding food where they could, well, the quartermasters had really messed up with logistics, and provisions had been rather scarce. Not surprising that they were ready for battle. They are angry at the position we've put them in, and the delays will just make the situation worse. Like me, well, most of them are professional soldiers, used to the hardships and deprivations, but those old fools, Sir Harry Burrard and Sir Hugh Dalrymple, should never have let the French troops go free after Wellesley had so brilliantly defeated them in Portugal. The troops under the French officer Junot were taken home, possessions and armaments intact, back to Napoleon, and ready to come at us again. A disgrace. What the hell were they thinking? Then they were recalled to London. Who knows what the outcome of that will be? So out of favour, John Moore was handed this chalice. It's just an ill thought out mess. And now I've lost the element of surprise. Now I have to decide. And those decisions could mean that the coming weeks might be glorious or disastrous.